Hey y'all, welcome back to Dots and Beyond. My name is Beth and welcome back to episode 2 of Bujo on a Budget, where I set up a bullet journal for an entire year using dollar store products. Let's get started. When last we met, I had reintroduced this series and we had set up this bullet journal for the beginning of 2024, but we have yet to set up any monthlies. And so in this video, we are going to do the first quarter of 2024 with January, February, and March. Now there are a couple of notable exceptions to the supplies, like these Crayola Super Tips, which did not come from the dollar store. They did come from Amazon, but they are a very economical option, as well as this journal that I have, which came from Michael's, which again was about $5 because it was on sale. Here on the left is our current total to date, which is going to be a little higher than the monthly totals because we bought pens and packs of paper and things that we can use throughout the year. As I've worked on this, I'm starting to rank myself each month on a pass or fail scale depending on how much it cost me to set up that particular month. I'm also rating the supplies. So what's happening is I'm finding out, you'll see particularly in February, that I didn't like the way that it turned out. I didn't like the supplies that I used, and so I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you purchase those and use those in your own journals. I'm also going to try to showcase a wide variety of setups and layouts so that you can decide things that may or may not work for you in terms of functionality as well. Flipping back to the beginning, we used some wall stickers that had feathers on them, as well as some other feather sticker packs to get this set up, along with pens that were from the Dollar Tree here in the US. Now let's go ahead and get started with January. In January, we're going to have a travel theme. These papers I cut down from a paper pack that we bought for the first setup video. I will link to that in the description box below, but this is what it looks like. This paper pack was, again, $1.25. It's probably going to last us the whole year, unless I decide I want to buy another one and just see what goodies I can get out of it. We also bought these Color Flow pens for our first setup video. There's a pack of 6 of them that I have. They're going to act like our fine liners. They do not bleed through on this paper, and there's a myriad of colors of them, from black to green to pink and blue, so we're going to use these as well for this setup and for all subsequent setups in this journal. When using markers, we will be using the Crayola Super Tips. I'm pretty heavy-handed, so they do tend to ghost just a little bit for me. It really just depends on how hard you press down. And then our main source of inspiration is going to be this Around the World sticker activity book. I also have a travel sticker set that I found as well. I'm going to kind of pull out the stickers from this set that have the blues and the orange tones to them, leave the others behind. Maybe we can use them for something else later. Now, I'm not going to use these, but my Dollar Tree had these vintage wall stickers or vintage map wall sticker styles that I thought about using. Essentially, I bought this just to show you that you could also sort of cut this up into little bitty bits and pieces and use it around your journal if you wanted a travel theme that was not quite as brightly colored and had a little bit more vintage to it. Again, we're not going to use this, so we're going to tuck it off to the side, but it is an option for you. I do want to talk about this Around the World sticker activity book for a minute though, because while I specifically use the stickers out of the sticker book, there are a lot of different ways that you could use some of the things that are in this sticker book. So you could cut out each one of these icons that they have here in the front and use those if you didn't want to use the stickers. You can cut out these Polaroids and use them specifically in your journal. Cut out that little taxi. Cut out any of the things in here that are already printed and ready to go for the particular countries. But then they also have these sticker sheets in the middle that are designed to pull off the stickers and stick in the blank spots of the areas of the travel portions of this particular activity book. But there's just a lot to choose from, and that's why I picked this up and thought for January we would just do a little bit of an around the world theme. And there's so much of this that went unused, I can tuck it away in my supplies for future use, see if I can't tap into it and use the rest of it at a later time as well. Now the first thing we're going to do is get ready to stick this blue piece of paper into the journal, and I've already sort of pre-cut this, and it's not a perfect rectangle, y'all. It's a little bit wonky, and that is a-okay. I also tested some of my markers and things on this particular blue. So here I had tested writing January with the orange marker just to see how that was going to look. While I was doing that, I made some little pre-cut week headers as well on this little cut off from the white piece of paper that I have on the side, and again, those all came out of the paper pack. Now to stick this down, we are going to go ahead and use the sticker roller. You just kind of peel off bits of this, slap it onto the back, and then peel off the other side of it. It's like double stick tape, and go ahead and put it down, and this does come from the dollar store. And then I wanted to make a mini calendar to go on top of this, and that's what I'm going to use that white piece of paper for off to the left. And I haven't cut this down to size yet, so we're going to do a little measuring and figure out exactly what size I need to make my mini calendar here and stick it on this blue paper. And this little white piece of paper is not a dot grid, so I'm just using my ruler to line up where I want to stick it down, and then we're going to also use the ruler to kind of figure out where my lines are going to go in order for me to put my numbers in. And just remember, they don't have to be perfect as long as you have the right days on the right dates or the right dates on the right days. This will all work out in the end. Again, this Bujo on a Budget series is about finding ways to do a creative journal without putting too much thought or energy into it and still having all of the functionality that you need. Again, you could always just have a pen and a notebook to do the bullet journal method without any of the creativity at all, but I do know that there are some who struggle with the creativity, and this just does make it a little bit easier to pick up some elements really cheaply and put them on the page in whatever order suits you best in order to make it fun and creative. The stickers on this sticker sheet are just a little bit puffy, so we are going to use them sparingly. Otherwise, we're going to jump into our around the world and pop in a whole bunch of travel themed stickers. I do add a little bit more to this later. I just wasn't sure how much I wanted to add now before overwhelming it all. And I'm going to use this blue to make some bullet points because I don't have any dot markers to use, so I just made a bunch of little circles for those bullets. And that will mostly wrap up our cover page. Again, I do come back and add a couple more elements to that later. Let's go ahead and move on to the calendar page. For the main monthly pages, I'm sticking with that blue and orange color palette that I started with on the cover page. We'll do the weeklies, some different colors just to sort of match or go along with the stickers that match those particular countries. For the calendar, I'm going to outline the top of each week with black and then come in with a lighter orange and underline just underneath it. Otherwise, we're going to leave it very open. And then I decided to make this a dual purpose page. So it's not only a calendar, it's also going to be a 1 line a day page. In my own journals, y'all know I like to highlight every other line in these open spaces or open response areas with a lighter color. You can do this with a Crayola Super Tip as well. They're a little darker than the Tombos or the really light Tombos, but they get the same effect and you can still write over top of them. And then of course, we're going to add in some stickers. And I do stick some of these where they hang off a little bit and then just trim little bits here and there, but we definitely still get our travel theme. And again, I tried to pick some of the stickers that had more of those orange and blue tones to them as well. Then the other thing I'm doing is just outlining our letters to make them look just a little more put together than just the orange marker. And here I am flipping back to stick a little extra something on to this cover page. I decided to grab that world map and put it on here as well. Alright, that is the calendar page done, and we are going to jump right into our weekly setups, and I am starting off with England. For this setup, I'm going to use a red color as well as a minty green, which seems like an odd choice, but it was the background color on the sticker sheet that the England stickers were on. Otherwise, these weeklies are going to be one of the simpler setups you can do. So you can see I have 6 boxes down the middle. Those are for the days of the week. Yes, I did combine the weekend, Saturday and Sunday on a particular day. Now over on the left, I was building out a habit tracker and I did make a mistake. So back here on this test page, we're going to use one of the classic mistake fixers in the bullet journal world, and that's to cut out a piece of our dot grid paper to kind of fix that little area that I did. And what I had done is I put a highlight there too close to one another for my little individual habit tracker boxes. So now that is all fixed. I'm going to balance out the habit trackers on the left with a to-do list on the right, and then we will fill in some of the extra spaces with our stickers to get our travel to England theme down on the page. Here you can see that green background on these England stickers, and you can see why I chose that particular marker, but let's go ahead and pop in our stickers. Of course, I'm going to use a classic phone booth if I can get it peeled off of here. I did find out these were really stuck on these pages. Not the easiest stickers to get off, but once I got the hang of it, they definitely went on pretty well. And of course, I had pre-made my little weekly headers, so I'm just sticking one of those over top of the phone booth and filling in with a couple of other stickers. so that you know that this is dedicated to England and filling out my to-do list. That will wrap up the first week in this Bujo on a Budget series for 2024, and if you, like me, have a Monday start, it is super satisfying because Monday is January the 1st for 2024, and it's always fun when it starts right at the beginning of a week. I am going to move on to week 2, and we are going to change color palette to this purple and then this tan goldy color, because that is the two main colors that were in the sticker pack for the Egyptian stickers. So for this one, we are particularly going to Egypt or to Cairo, and I'm just going ahead and filling it in, setting it up exactly the same way as we did the week before. And that's how we're going to set up all of these weeklies. We're just going to vary up the artwork or the stickers that we're putting in, as well as the color palette. If you're going to be using a sticker booklet or a sticker pack, it really is the easiest way to pick your color palette or the markers that you're going to use is to just go ahead and match those that are already in the sticker pack that you are using. Y'all, somewhere along the way I deleted the footage for week 3, which was Japan, but you will be able to see it in the flip through. For now, we're going to pop in our iconography and our setup for Paris, which was week 4, because it is set up exactly the same way. For January 2024, I did set up a little bit of a review page, and I'm going back to that same orange and blue color palette to tie it back in to the beginning. Here on the left is just a brain dump or a notes page, and then on the right we do have an actual review page with several different categories of liked, learned, lacked, and longed for, as well as world events. And then I just had a little bit of fun tying in my header on the left with the plane flying across to the right side of the page, just to sort of wrap up our travel around the world theme. While I am putting the finishing touches on this page, let's go ahead and look at the numbers. Because we had purchased the bulk of our supplies at the beginning of the year, to do this setup, we only added $2.50. One for the sticker sheet and one for the sticker activity book. Y'all, I definitely call that a pass. Stay tuned to the end of the video for the full flip through. The other thing that I call a pass with this particular setup is my nails, and a lot of you guys like to ask me about my fingernails. I've received several messages about them. I do not get my nails professionally done. I do my nails at home, and I do prefer this French setup. I have tried a lot of fake nails over the years, but I always come back to the Kiss nails, and I am now actually a Kiss affiliate. So if you like my nails and you are interested in trying to do some of your own, I use specifically the Kiss Everlasting are my favorite nails. There are some others that they have with some really fun colors and designs on them, but the big thing for me is this Flex Fit technology. These other nails that I've tried, they start popping off of my nail after a day or two, and I can get these Kiss nails to stay on for 2 weeks if I put them on properly. Down in the description box, you'll find a code if you want to have 15% off. Just put in the code NEW15, that's NEW15, for 15% off of your first order at kissusa.com. And until I partnered with Kiss, I really was unaware of how many different products they have in addition to fingernails, including eyelashes and some makeup items. So definitely check them out via the link in the description box. Now let's go ahead and jump into our February setup. Now for this particular setup, I had found a sticker pack that was sort of a wild planner sticker pack, as well as some animal print stickers and that sort of thing, and I decided to go with this Be Wild Self-Love theme for February. So let's go ahead and look at some of these supplies. So here is that sticker book that I found. This was up near the checkout at some point when I was in the Dollar Tree. It really was kind of hiding, but I definitely love the vibe of this sticker book. Later on in this video, you're going to see me pull this apart because I really got tired of flipping through it. But it is a fun sticker book to use. I also found these animal print shimmery stickers that are great in theory, but in the long run, I should have just kept them to the cover page and not used them throughout the entire journal because they do make it a little fat. We'll talk about that a little bit later. These planner stickers kind of follow the same color vibe. I'm only going to use a few things off of this here and there, some hearts, that sort of thing. 2 sticker sheets that came in one pack for $1.25. And then I have these alphabet stickers that we're going to use just for the cover page. Off to the right, you can see I have chosen this pink and green as my color palette, along with the black pen that I'm using like a fine liner. Again, those were all purchased at the beginning of this entire project, and so we're not going to include those in our purchase count. As I continue to experiment with different setups for February, we're going to put the calendar and the cover page all in one. So here I am turning the book to the side so I can do a full February calendar on the left side of this spread, and then we'll do a little bit more decoration on the right side of the spread. For those of you who question the functionality of a cover page, this is a good way to get in both concepts in one. It's to have a little bit of a cover page, but then also make part of it very functional as well. The basis of our cover page are going to be these shimmery animal print stickers, which I do love, but they are made of cloth. They are not a normal sticker paper, and so they are a little bit on the thick side. You can kind of see the woven texture here on the back, but I just wanted some strips to put on the right side of this spread, and so I'm going to mark those with a permanent marker just to kind of know where I want to cut them. And then turning my journal just a little bit to the side is going to make it a little easier for me to line these up as I try to lay them down. I did have to trim some excess off the top and bottom, but now we're going to accessorize the page with some of the stickers from this Wild planner book, as well as the planner stickers that I had picked up that have just the little more generic hearts and things on them as well. I approached this very much like I do a collage sort of style. I really hadn't planned out much in advance other than where I was going to put the calendar and that sort of thing. To that end, this is another one of those spreads that I return to a little bit later and actually do a little bit of embellishment on as well. But first, we are going to finish out this calendar by getting the dates put in here so that we can make it functional. And then I'm going to get out another sticker pad or sticker sheet. So this one is much more of a spring sticker sheet. It has lots of springy flowers and that sort of things on it, but it has this one sticker that says "Hello Lovely" on it, and I really wanted to grab that and use that in here. Again, this is a sticker sheet that has a little bit of a puff to it, and I didn't want to use too many of these stickers on the page. I also chose to use this little heart sticker right on Valentine's Day, just as a self-love reminder. Another reason I'm able to come back and decorate with more stickers later is I didn't want to use all the stickers in one go and then not have enough to embellish subsequent pages, so I use what I need as we go along and then come back and fill in with some of the extras later on. On this next spread, we're going to do a mood tracker on the left and a habit tracker on the right, and we are going to do two of the easiest versions of these types of trackers possible. The best way to do a mood tracker is to pick an easy shape to draw, and then you're just going to fill it in on a color code. And for this self-love tracker, I'm just going to draw a whole bunch of hearts. I'm even keeping the headers simple with a small sticker on either side, a highlight with a Crayola Super Tip, and then my natural cursive. Here on the left, I've put 4 hearts as a color code. If I do give this journal away, somebody can choose to use what colors they want to do. And then we're just doing the hearts for February. They are 100% hand-drawn and completely placed randomly, and that is a-okay. That's totally a great way to do a mood tracker. I just made sure to leave myself a little bit of open space where I could add in some of these wild stickers and keep it in our theme. And I'm just layering a couple of these in here, finding a place that I can place this leopard. I definitely wanted to put it on this page. Looking through this to see if there's anything I can put behind it, but I think I ended up just sticking it there by itself. One of the other things I have to try to not be too judgmental about is big cat spots, because this is the body of a cheetah, but it has the spots of a leopard. And yes, there's very much a very big difference between the two. I grew up seeing these animals, and I try not to be too judgy when I see these things done professionally and put in sticker packs and that sort of thing, where they're labeled cheetah print, but they're actually leopard print or vice versa. Now here on the right for the habit tracker, I just drew 6 boxes that are the shape of February for 2024. And that's where you're just going to fill in those habits. So there's a pink line at the top of each one of those for title of that habit, and then just filling in the little squares for the month on each day that those get done. And here you can see I have finally detached that sticker pack from one another because I got tired of flipping through it, you know, the old-fashioned way. So I just cut off the top so that they are individual sticker sheets, and I can look through things a little bit easier and know what I have and know whether I can put some of these off to the side, because I'm definitely definitely not going to use some of these stickers. But in doing that, I realized that I had these days of the week stickers, and so I chose to come and cover up my own handwriting with Monday through Sunday and use those in my calendar, and I really liked having that better. Alright, we are going to move on to the weeklies, and this is really sort of where the wheels fall off the bus on this particular setup for me. First up, this is about the easiest weekly setup you can do, and that's to have 4 boxes across the top and 4 boxes across the bottom. 7 for Monday through Sunday, or Sunday through Saturday if you set your weeks that way, and then 1 for notes or whatever else you want to put in that particular spot. I do love this setup. It's super functional and it gives you tons of space to write. And then what I did was leave space in the middle for the decoration, and that's where this really doesn't work for me. To keep it cohesive, I'm going to continue using these metallic animal print strips, and then we are going to use these dots that came in this pack. And you can pick up permanent markers at your dollar stores. These happen to be Bic Markets. I have seen Sharpies there as well. The Bic does have a finer nib to the pen, and it's a little easier to write the numbers on these stickers. Now right off the bat, I number these wrong, and then on this first weekly I placed them wrong, and it just became this whole cycle of me numbering things incorrectly and then placing things incorrectly all the way through the course of the month. I did edit out the fixing of these problems simply because this video was already going to be long enough with me doing 3 months, but it really was not a great time. The problem with this weekly is not in the style but in the decoration. So that middle metallic animal print is a little bit thick, and it causes the pages through the course of the weeklies to get fatter and fatter. I'm going to go ahead and throw our totals for February up on the screen because for this month and me, this one was a fail. I purchased an additional $10 worth of supplies and I don't think it was worth it. And then the big fail for me is having this metallic strip down the middle of each weekly. In fact, we're going to jump to the March setup here in a minute and I'll show you these weeklies in a flip through because the pages continue to just get fatter and fatter and make them a little hard to work with. Some experiments don't work and others are knockouts like March. So I didn't really love February as much as I wanted to, but I definitely love how March turned out. And maybe it's just because I'm beginning to find my groove with these dollar store supplies. For the March setup, we're leaning into the spring vibes, and doing that, we're going to go with the theme of butterflies. And I found these beautiful wall stickers, and I think the wall stickers really are turning out to be my favorite supply for these bullet journal setups. Now, if you need some smaller butterfly options, my Dollar Tree also had these die cuts in both these blue-green colors and then some that were in pink and purple. I think I'm going to use one die cut out of here where I needed a very small butterfly in a section other than these larger ones that we have, but for the most part we're just going to use these wall stickers. And then I also picked up this crafting paper pad, and it really just has some really cute quotes on it. And instead of writing or drawing a quote page, we are going to take this every day is a day you've never seen before and use this on our cover page. And there are a whole lot of other cute choices in there for me to use in future setups if I choose to do so. Now I am going to cover up these little flowers, but we will get to that when we get there. And then these are back in the children's section, these large stickers that have letters on them. We are just going to use those as well to put in our header. Now this particular stencil I've had for a long time. I did pick it up at the Dollar Tree. What you have to remember with these is it's great for tracing in pencil, but they don't hold in place well when you want to do it in pen. So I typically just trace in pencil where I want, and then I just write over the pen freehand, knowing where the lines are. To go with these warm colored butterflies, I have picked out 2 of my Crayola Super Tips, a yellow and sort of a peachy orange. I started by pasting in our quote, and then I'm putting in our March letters over here on the right with the M, A, and R, and I'm going to choose to put a butterfly down before I put down the M, just so that the M is layered a little bit over top of it. And then I picked a butterfly that I thought we could mostly cover up this floral doodle on this quote with, and we're just going to stick it right here, fold it into the crease, and use that as our decoration. Now I could have with my marker drawn some additional doodles around the edge of every day is a day you've never seen before, or added some other embellishments to it, But this is where I chose to stop, and we're moving on to the calendar. And here you can see that I've already stenciled in the word March. Again, I just did that by holding it down with the pencil. It is so floppy, it doesn't respond well to the pen, and we're just going to color it in and then trace around it with the marker and the black pen. I'm going to alternate these headers on my pages. Some of them will be yellow, some of them will be the orangey peach color, just back and forth depending on the butterflies that I'm putting on each page. Honestly, I wasn't even very fussy when filling in this stenciled lettering. I just wanted to get it onto the page. It didn't have to be perfect. Even my outlining is not perfect. Some of it comes a little wonky here or there. It does give it a much more organic feel. You know, there are a lot of creators who do all of their lettering freehand and they don't use rulers when they do their calendars, and it really is sort of freeing to do that kind of a setup. Even these circles at the top for the day headers, they're not perfect because I don't have a circle stencil that I purchased from a dollar store. So I just made circles with that peachy color and then put the day headers up there. Of the 3 setups for January, February, and March, this one went super fast. I think it took me about 30 minutes from start to finish. It really was a super quick setup, and I'm glad that I chose this method and the fewer supplies than I had tried to use in February. Here's where I'm going to get one of these tiny die cut butterflies just because I feel like this page needs something else in this spot, and all the butterflies on the wall sticker sheet are much larger. This tiny one was definitely what we needed here. I also just love these richer colors for spring instead of pastel blues or pastel pinks. I'm continuing to do some things just a little bit differently. So here on the left, we are going to do a gratitude spread with a 1 line a day gratitude spread. On the right, we're going to do another habit tracker, but I'm not going to do it in the same style that I did the February one. I am also going to push both of these trackers to the edge of the pages. So the gratitude log we're going to push to the left side of the page. The habit tracker we are going to push to the right side of the page so that down the middle we have a place to put our large butterflies. I'm also going to keep that peachy orange to the left side of the spread and the yellow to the right side of the spread, and the butterflies that I've chosen are going to meld the two together in the middle. For the gratitude log, I do write the days of 1 through 31 along with their corresponding day of the week. And then, like the other lettering that I have done on the pages, I'm just outlining our headers in black to make them look a little more put together. Instead of drawing the shape of March like we did for the February habit trackers, I'm actually going to put a little dot on every single day of the month. And yes, we're going to do that for all 8 months that are on this page. And that way, when you do that habit, you can just cross off that little dot. There's something extra satisfying about the dots already being there and then you crossing them off or checking them off as you go. But now we can add in our butterfly decorations, and as you can see, I chose 2 butterflies that meld our 2 colors on this page together perfectly. Both of them have a little bit of the goldy yellow. Both of them have some of that peachy orange color. That will wrap it up for the gratitude log as well as the habit tracker, and we're ready to go ahead and move on to the first weekly for March. I'm continuing to experiment with different weekly layouts. So for this particular one, we are going to have our days of the week on the left side of the page. On the right side of the page will be space for a lengthy to-do list as well as a notes area. If you're setting up your own bullet journal, or if you're just beginning to set up your own bullet journal, I do encourage you to experiment with these different layouts. For example, on the January weeklies, I had a habit tracker that was just 7 days a week instead of trying to track the entire month. On this particular one, we just have space for our events and things on the left side, and then the to-do list on the right, as well as some notes for the week. And we are going to set up all of our weeklies very much the same way. I'm just going to alternate back and forth each week between that peachy color as our main color and this yellow. In addition to alternating the colors, I'm also alternating what is on each side of the spread. So on this particular week, our days of the week are on the right and our to-do list and our notes are on the left. I also paid close attention to the colors of my butterflies, like this one that is mostly golden, and then of course this blue one that I'm about to put in that didn't have any of the peachy color in it, but it does have some of this yellow, so it works on this page. These large style stickers would also work really great with some washi tape behind them. Now, I did not purchase washi tape for this because it was Bujo on a budget and the dollar store that I go to did not have washi tape, but it would work great if you already had it in your stash. Here we are, we're just going to flip-flop back to the other side of the page and also to the peach marker and repeat the same processes. If you get bored from week to week, you definitely don't have to set up every week of the month in the same style or just flip-flop the spread so it's slightly different. You could set up completely different weeklies, and I know people who do and absolutely love having a completely different style of week every week. We are going to flip back to the yellow marker and set up the last week of March for 2024. Here is the spending log for March. We come out at an even $5. Now I could have done without the one tiny die cut that I put on here that would have knocked $1.25 off. You could have also done your lettering on your own and not had a stencil that would have knocked another $1.25 off, but we are keeping an accurate tally here. I'm going to say it again, out of the three, March so far is definitely my favorite, but let's go ahead and take a look back at January through March and see what we have set up thus far. I started off January with a travel theme, and this one really is quite a success because we only used 2 newly purchased items. The big thing to remember here, I think, is to look out for the sticker activity books. They do come in a lot of different styles. I know that there's a space one because I have already purchased it. The big thing there is just to sort of figure out different ways to use the same product. So I wouldn't want to use this space one the same way that I have done this one. Moving on to February, and while I loved the idea, I didn't love the execution, and it was definitely these metallic animal prints that caused some of our problems, not necessarily on this page, but moving forward. Again, I wouldn't recommend purchasing these to use in your bullet journal because they are just a heavier weight and a little bit fatter. And so while I ran this strip down the middle of every single one of my weeklies, they then made the center of the page much fatter. So you can write around them, but it's definitely going to affect writing on the subsequent pages in the journal that are facing sort of that middle section until you get later in the journal and it gets a little fatter. But this is what those weeklies look like. And then of course we come to what I think is the star setup thus far, and that is March with these butterflies and moths. This is a theme that I would absolutely do in my own journal if I wasn't already doing some sort of annual themed thing, because this turned out so great. And it's the perfect example of why I wanted to do this series and find materials that would work perfectly for these bullet journal setups and yet not cost a lot. So like February, or unlike February where it didn't necessarily work so well, March worked great. And again, that's why I'm doing this, so you can see the different types of materials that we have, what works great and what does not. So that is this bullet journal setup for the entire first quarter of 2024. What is our damage? So we're almost at $50 USD, and that is without tax because everybody has different tax rates. But when you consider that some of us spend $35, $39 on a single journal, let alone the supplies that we purchase, that's why I'm doing this series. And if you're more creative than I am, maybe just some Crayola super tips, a pen, and a journal is all you need. Please give this video 2 thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one.